them as I touch on it. What will happen is if you start reading through it, you're going to be finished a lot quicker than I'm going to be finished. And then you're going to be playing tic-tac-toe with yourself. It's like we're in school. I'm just kidding around. Relax. It's all good. No big deal. I'm just trying to lighten the mood a little bit, okay? We're coming back to school. How many of you are excited that your kids are going back to school? Well, some people didn't raise their hand. I don't know what that means for you folks. Most parents, I had one parent tell me, hey, on August 10th, my kid is going to be at your door about 7:30, and I'm going to work. If you're closed, they'll be out there when I come back by to pick them up. I've had all I can take, and I can't take any more. That's it. I'm going to work, and they're not coming with me. But in all seriousness, if we were to wait another week past when we're going to open, we would have been out of school. We've been on school. We did virtual learning last year where we were actually live through Zoom with our teacher, with our students for about 5 hours a day during the week. But from having grade school students on our campus, we would have been out of school for 5 months. And that's a huge transition for students, for kids, particularly those that have already been here a year or been in some school for a year and they're coming back to this system. We are anticipating a little bit of an adjustment curve, a learning curve to get everyone back into the routine. Maybe we'll be back hitting on all eights by the time we get past Labor Day. But for kindergartners, those of you, I know many of you here tonight are for kindergarten. We have our biggest kindergarten class we've ever had. We have so many kindergartners that we hired a teacher aide to assist Miss Sarah. We would normally never go past 16, but this year we have 20 kindergartners. Thus, the reason we have the full-time teacher aide to be with Miss Sarah, because I don't want her to quit next year. You know what I mean? Not that your kids are that much trouble. It's not that it's that. They're all angels and heavenly sunlight and everything's wonderful. They never do anything wrong. Everything is perfect. But 20 might be just a bit much for one human being. Even though Sarah has unusually gifted, she's very gifted, and we're blessed to have her, as well as Miss Amy Truitt. Amy Truitt, she's over here to my left. You're right. She's first year to be here, but this will be her 9th year to teach. She's taught kindergarten actually the last 8 years, and this is her first year to teach first grade, and so she's excited about that. Our first grade class has 14 students, which is the largest first grade class that we've ever had. And then our second grade, it's not because of the teacher. She's super gifted, Mrs. Debbie Cazone, and she's not in here yet. She's running around somewhere. But we have a very small class of second graders. We only have 6 second graders right now. So it's a small class of second graders, but they will be working well together and have a good year. But we're glad that all of you are here. If you need a restroom while you're here and it's been a minute since you've been here and you don't remember, you go right out through those doors where the door is open. The first door on the left is the men's room, and the second door on the left is the ladies' room. And you're welcome to get up and go out as you need to. I wanted to just say a quick word of prayer, and then I want to talk you through this as quickly as I can and get you off to your children's classroom with your children's teacher, and so you can meet with them. And then I want you to know that I'll be around tonight if you need to talk, if you have a question, if you're concerned about something that you don't think would really concern everyone else, but you want to talk to me face to face. I'll be here as long as you'd like for me to answer any questions that you have, okay? So let's pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the gift of life and the hope we have in Christ. I thank you for each family that's come tonight to this back-to-school parents meeting. Thank you for our teachers. Thank you for each boy and girl that you've entrusted to us, God. We take that as a very sacred trust and a huge responsibility that we're grateful that you would entrust it to us, as these parents have done that as well, entrusted their little ones to us. And so, God, we pray that we could have a great year, our best year yet, not just in our numbers, but in the quality of instruction and the personal relationships that are built and the growth that we see in each boy and girl, and even in our teachers and in our families' lives. So would you guide our time tonight? May we glorify you in all that we say and do. In Christ's name, amen. All right, if you have a copy of the handbook, there's no real good way to start except just to start. So if you look at the first page, turn it over, there's a note from me that tells you about our theme for the school year. And our theme is going to be from Romans 12:12, teaching your kids to be rejoicing in the hope we have in Christ, to be patient in the afflictions that we endure, and to be persistent in prayer. And that's really what we should want for all of our kids. and that is to never give up hope. Optimism, if you don't want to take it from a Christian perspective, optimism is always what wins the day. Ask any political leader, anybody that leads an organization, pessimist will not win the day unless you're in a third world dictating kind of crazy nutcase country. But by and large, in our country, it is optimistic people that win the day. So we want to teach your kids to be hopeful and to be patient with the troubles that they face. If we don't teach our kids to endure hardship and continue to move through hardship, then we're missing out on a key fundamental of their growth to be able to get through life. Because as you well know, everyone in here could affirm this to be the truth, that while there are troubles in childhood, when we become adults, the troubles seem to capitalize more and more, and we all have trials and difficulties, right? So we want to teach your kids to be patient as they go through those things as young people, and then be persistent in our prayer life. And you can read more about that if you'd like to. Our mission statement on page 2, we exist to engage your children and educate your children heart, mind, and will. So it's a holistic approach. We're not just interested in filling your children with stuff in their minds. We want them to know what to think, how to think critically, to be critical thinkers, not just to criticize everything, but to be critical about looking at things from a holistic and panoramic view. And so we do that by developing your child's relationship with their teacher. If you were here, and by the way, I see some of you that might have been here at a previous night this week, because we've had 2 of these. This is our third and last one, I almost said mercifully. But for your sake, and for those of you that have been here before and you have to hear me say this all again, bless your hearts, and may God richly bless your lives as you listen to me say all this again. But I just want you to endure and stick with me, and maybe you'll catch something new tonight, okay? But our purpose is really, we believe that the most important asset that we have in the school is our teachers. You might say, well, I thought it would be curriculum. No, it's the teachers. You might say, well, is curriculum important? Absolutely, it's important. But we don't want our students to be like the curriculum. We want them to be like our teachers. We have chosen each of our teachers on purpose after much prayer, lots of interviewing, talking and looking at their experiences. And we believe that there's something in them, many things in them, that we want your children to emulate and to learn and to apply to their life and to put into practice. And so Jesus said when a student is fully trained, they will be like their teacher, not like the curriculum. So curriculum is important, but the most important asset is for the teacher. So if you might say, well, what could we do most that would help our teachers or our child's teacher this year? I would say pray for them daily, and periodically, without them expecting it, send them an encouraging note. Just that they're not expecting. Teaching and working with students and families can at times be discouraging. So if you can go out of your way to be a Barnabas type person in the book of Acts who was out of his way to encourage people, just encourage. You're saying, well, send money, right? Well, that can encourage. I mean, you can encourage people with money. I mean, it's not a sin as long as you're not trying to bribe them. But I'm just kidding. I'm terrible. I know that I'm just joking around. But I'm serious. Just encourage them. Encourage them as they go through the year. Pray for them and be patient with them. Teachers are not perfect. They try to be perfect. Teachers, the profession of teaching, for those that are really called and gifted to teach, are the hardest working people. You might say, well, you don't know my family message. I understand, but I'm saying from my perspective, the hardest working people, they're the most self-critical people. They criticize themselves because they want perfection. And it's hard to be a good teacher, but they love it because it's what they're called to do. So be patient with them, encourage them, and know they're trying to build a strong relationship with your child. And the reason they are is because they know if they have a strong relationship with your child, then that is more than half the battle to have your child want to perform, to try, to come to school ready, to give their best, to grow academically, and to give them that thirst for knowledge and wisdom. We're not so much interested in helping your children pass standardized tests. There's a time and a place for that, but we do want them to develop a desire for wisdom. You might say, kindergartner, wisdom? Some of the most wise things that you'll ever hear could come out of a kindergartner's mouth. You might say, yes, but that won't run the world. We're not talking about running the world. We're talking about wisdom. And we want your children to desire wisdom, and we want them to learn and to be taught. It's the very same thing you're trying to teach them, to do that which they know is right to do, but they do not want to do it. Don't you want that for your kids? When they can come to the place where they say, I know that this is what I'm supposed to do, but everything in me is yelling at me not to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know it's right. Decisional obedience, working on their will, You say, this sounds like a really big mission. It is a big mission. And part of Greater Things Christian School is that term, greater things. It comes from John 14:12, where Jesus said, because I go to the Father, I'll send another one who's just like me, the Holy Spirit, to live within you, to be in you and on you, and to work through you so that you can do greater things than even I would do. And without the aid of the Holy Spirit, we do not believe that we can accomplish our mission. It requires the aid of God's Spirit for this work. That's the big picture. And so if you want to know more about our educational philosophy, that kind of thing, you can read through that and ask me any questions you'd like, and I'll be glad to answer them. Administrative prerogative, you see on page 2, is simply about not every single topic or situation that we encounter as a school will be covered in this handbook, and the administrator has the prerogative to make decisions in that regard. Financial terms and conditions. You see what's not included in tuition. Late payments. I'm going to talk to you about payments later, and I'll have a sheet for you. So if you're saying, I want to pay my tuition, and I don't want to do it the old-fashioned way, I want to come by and give you either a virtual high five, I'm all about it. We don't want you to pay the old-fashioned way either. Now, don't take it the wrong way. We will take the money, and the reason is because we are fully funded by what you pay in tuition. We have no money coming from any other source, so it's not so much that I like to talk about money, but the real reality is to have fully qualified, degreed, experienced teachers here to pay the overhead, to do the whole deal. It takes resources, it takes money. So your faithfulness in paying your tuition is huge as it relates to us being able to take care and provide for our teachers and to meet our mission goals. But the month of August, we're not doing any late fees. So be encouraged. If you don't get it right in August, then the first time we'll put a late fee on your account is on September the 11th. That's the first, not because it's September the 11th, that's a special day, but just because it's the day after the 10th of the month, okay? Goodness. But these dates are not working out for us. That should not have been the date. But anyway, the 10th of the month is the day it's due. It's due the 1st, but if it's late if it's not paid by the 10th. Does that make sense? And we're not counting against you the first month. So you got 40 days to figure it out, like temptation in the wilderness, you got 40 days to figure out how to pay your tuition. So if it's that big of a task, then you got 40 days. All good? All right, great. And we will send you, and you'll get an invoice. You should have already received an invoice. Let me tell you something real quick about that. We use our website provider, GTCS Warriors, our domain rather. We use Gmail for our email provider. And for some reason, every one of my emails, when I first start working with people, sending the messages. Same thing with Gretchen's. It's Chris@gtcswarriors.com, Gretchen@gtcswarriors.com, and the only other email other than your teacher's email would be admissions@gtcswarriors.com. But for some reason, when we send things out, it goes directly to people's spam or junk folder. So if you could go into your address book and put ours in so that it doesn't do that, then you won't be frustrated when you're thinking, I should have received something and I haven't received it. And by the way, if you haven't received something and you think you need it, you can send me a direct message through Dojo. You can call me. You can send me a text to my personal phone, to the cell phone. You can call the school. You can come by. You're going to see me here because I live here, and I'll help you out with that, okay? I don't literally live here. I feel like I live here. But anyway. It's the parent's responsibility, if you look on the back of page 3, to notify the school if you're having trouble paying your tuition. I've had parents come to me before and say, look, we've hit a hard patch and we're struggling. But I've also had parents say to me, I've had to learn the last 7 years. I've learned a lot by failure. Some people say you need to learn from other people's mistakes before you make your own mistakes. That's true, but God usually teaches us a lot by our own personal failings. And that is to allow people to say, well, I don't have to pay for August. I don't have to pay for September. I don't have to pay for October. And basically we have a meeting in November where they say, hey, look, I don't want to disrupt my child's year. I don't want them upset. I don't want to have to pull them out of school, but I'm just not going to be able to pay you tuition. I'm too far behind. And that's my fault for letting it drag on. So I'm not trying to be mean to you. We love all your kids. We will work with you. You come and tell me. I'm going to find a way to make it work. But just don't act like it's not a issue. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I wish y'all were a multi-billionaire. We could have a big endowment and build 4 or 5 campuses, and anybody wants to come can come, and we would pay you to come. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I don't want to have to deal with money. I don't like to talk about money. So just pay your bill and I will never talk to you about it anyway. Okay, great. Top of page 4. We're a member of Christian Schools International, and we're in the candidacy stage for accreditation for our elementary school. CSI does not officially accredit preschools. We are looking at ACSI, which is the Association of Christian Schools International, for accreditation for a preschool. However, all of our teachers are experienced. Many of them have degrees, and also we're monitored by the Department of Ed's Early Childhood Education program for our Little Warriors program, so that you're not here tonight for that. By the way, is there anyone here tonight who has a child in kindergarten, first or second, and also has a child that will be coming to our Little Warriors program? You do? Okay, there's a few. All right, right on. We're all glad that you're here. Our Little Warriors program has taken off this year. We've started a new class for 18 to 36-month-olds, and for those 3 classes, we're close to 30 kids in those 3, and we can cap out at about 36. And we're excited about that. It's a huge blessing to our school and for new students coming in. But anyway, what I'm going to tell you about accreditation is that we had our first meeting with our regional coordinator for accreditation last Thursday. And we're starting the process, and we have a tentative penciled-in date of either the end of April 2021 for the site team to come and visit, or as late as sometime in September of 2021. But we have every intention to be accredited not just by Christian Schools International, which is recognized by the Department of Education in Tennessee, but also by Cognia. If you've ever heard of Advanced Ed before, they're out of Atlanta, Georgia. It's a national accreditation we're seeking dual accreditation with both of those, and hope and pray with all the work that's got to be done that by sometime next summer or as late as fall break of 2021, we will be officially accredited as a school. And if you're wondering about that, our teachers are degreed, they're credentialed, licensed rather, and ready to teach your kids. And if you have any of these teachers, I think that you will be very pleased with the quality of instruction that your child gets. I'm not going to read about the computer use procedures because I don't want you to fall out on the floor and fall asleep. And you can read that on your own. Extended care program. I'm going to try my best to do this, the whole dropping off, the whole deal, extended care, the whole thing in less than 7 minutes. I don't know why. I just think I can do it. But I'm going to try my best, okay? So, extended care. You got a message from me this past Sunday, if you read it or if it didn't go to your junk folder or if you got Dojo, that we've had to adjust our times for drop-off for before care and for after care by both 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night. It's a long story. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version. We are a small school. This year we're going to be somewhere around 90, 92, 94, depends on where we are, students. To give you some perspective, this past year when we finished school, we had 62 students. So it's about a 33% increase, and we lost some students who left from preschool to go to another elementary school. So it's really about a net gain of about 42, 43 students, and that's at this point. We still have about 10 days. So we've had a pretty big increase, the biggest increase we've ever had as a school, and we're excited about that. But we're still a small school compared to, like, for example, the elementary school that's right up the road. You might say, what do you think of them? They have a huge task, and I have nothing negative to say about them. I know there's a lot of great administrators and teachers there that do a lot of good work to help kids. But what I'm saying is their program compared to our program is about 5 times larger than our program. Maybe even slightly larger than that. And so what the standards and rules are for aftercare and before care for them is the same standards for ours. We might have 18 total kids in here for the whole before care program. So if I don't jump through all the hoops and hire 2 more people to be here in the morning and 2 more people in the afternoon, and because I don't have anything else for them to do, they want a lot more money per hour to come for those 2 hours. And we've been doing before and after care for 7 years without any issues. We've had to find a way to get our program of extended care, both in the mornings and the afternoons, to not last more than, I know this sounds absurd, 2 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds. If I could just tell you what I really felt about that, then I would be repenting until Sunday. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you the nice, right answer, okay? And here's the answer. I had to move the before care drop-off time to 6:15. Not 6:50. Don't melt down. 6:15, 6:15, okay? And the pickup time is at 5:45 instead of 6 o'clock. So we've had to kill it by 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon. And so the other thing that goes along with that is that you can now drop kids off. You were had a student here last year, you realized that you pulled in over on this side of the parking lot, which you'll do again this year, and you didn't get to drop your kids off unless they went to before care until 7:45. This year, you can drop your kids off as early as 7:30. Just get in the car line. We're expanding it by 30 minutes. They can come in at 7:30 and not be in before care, because before care will officially end at 7:30, and we are going to have a homework club. This is taking some work. And we're having a homework club. All these kids are going to be at their different tables with their teacher. You might say, it's just the extended care worker, isn't it? Nope, 7:30, their teacher will be in here, and they're going to sing and dance for 20 minutes and have a big time. It's going to be amazing. And then about 7:50, they'll start putting their things away. We'll have chapel out here at 8 o'clock. And in the afternoons, before you had to pick your child up between 3:45 and 4. Now, drop-off time will be, not drop-off time, pickup time will be between 3:45 and 4:15. So you don't have to get here to get your child until 4:15. If they're not here, you're not here to pick them up by 4:15, then they will go to aftercare, which ends at what time? 5:45. And what we're doing from 3:45 to 4 is pickup time. 4 to 4:15, we're having a reading club. Right on? You love that, don't you? Everybody's got creativity as a gift. We worked on that for a minute. Times a lot more than that. But anyway, that keeps us under 2 hours and 59, under 3 hours, so we're right in there. Unless you decide, well, no, what are they going to do? I'll be there at 6:10. Well, there's always going to be situations. You have crazy stuff happens on the interstate if you're coming back from Nashville, and there's going to be situations. There's always outliers. Things are going to happen, exceptions to the rule. It's not that we can never, ever let it happen. It just can't happen a lot, because they're going to monitor our books and tell us, hey, shame, shame, everybody knows your name, can't do that, and then back to jumping through hoops we go. So is anybody really, I don't want to put you on the spot, unless you're just willing to be put on the spot. Is there anyone in here that by making that adjustment of 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, it's ruining your life? I praise God for every one of you, at least as it relates to you not saying it out loud. I'll see you in the back afterwards. No, I'm just kidding. No one has said anything about it so far, but I know it's an adjustment. I don't like to announce that we're going to do one thing and then we have to make a change and do something different, because I know you have plans and a lot of responsibilities and you don't want to be jerked around like that. So I apologize that we've had to make that change, but I appreciate your patience with us. So just to sum up, if you have a child that needs to be dropped off 6:15 to 7:30 is before care, you just come down here, park, come over to these double doors, ring the doorbell. The teacher will be there. And here's what we're doing. Hear this part. This is very important. We're asking you to not come in the building. Don't come in the building. We're going to take your child from you from that point, take their things. We will have a time already written for you. You don't have to write that. What time is it? You don't have to write the time. The teacher will write the time. All you have to do is sign your name, say adios, amigos, or adios, or goodbye, or see you later, or whatever you want to say, and be gone. Go to work. Be gone. That sounds like rude. But you can go on your way then. And then the same thing in the afternoon. If you come for aftercare, 4:15 to 5:45, just park, come up to the door. And here's the other thing about pickup. We're not allowing your child out of the building. We'll have them at the door, but we're going to train them. And we might make a mistake here or there, but we're asking you for your help, because your child sees you and they just get really excited and it's on, right? So we're going to try our best, but we don't want children outside the building until you've signed them out. And here's the reason why. Don't misunderstand. This is not what I don't mean it harshly. But we can't control them when they get outside the door. That's your responsibility. Once you've signed them out, the chain of custody has changed. It's now your responsibility. And we don't mean that in a mean way. But we can't get out there and watch them. There's cars moving around. So please be patient with us and help us with that. That's one change that we're going to have to make. You could say, well, is that because of coronavirus? Everything is because of coronavirus, don't you know? Get with the program. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But seriously, that is part to do with it. Yes, we're trying our best to make modifications and make sure no one gets sick. Because I would be willing to do, within reason, a lot of things to keep from having to go through what we went through this past spring. Not because of how it inconvenienced me or the faculty here, but because of what it does to kids. It's about the kids. And they don't need to go through that foolishness again. Oh, I shouldn't have said that way, but that's what I think about it. If I knew then what I know now, I would have tried to stay open. But I think the difference was with the level of information that families had. parents are going to make the decision for me in that regard. And at that point, I'm not sure that most parents would have let their kids come because people were scared. And so I'll catch up on the coronavirus later. But do you understand about drop-off for before and after care? Everybody got that? If you're coming for regular drop-off time, 7:30 to 8, it's actually 7:30 to 7:55, and here's the reason for that. We want to start chapel at 8 a.m. right out here. There's going to be a place for kindergarten, a place for first grade. It'll be socially distanced by class, okay? It'll be spread apart. We want to start chapel at 8 o'clock. So we really want them to be in the building by 8 o'clock, by 7:55, so we have time to transition, get all their things put away, clean everything up, spray, sanitize, I don't know. And we're going to try our best, get them out here and have chapel right at 8 o'clock, okay? So you have 25 minutes, 7:30 to 7:55, and here's how you do the drop-off, okay? If you have a child that is in preschool only, there's only preschool students, will be on this inside line. You pull down in the parking lot, pull your car up next to the building, have it face the field, and come down to these double doors. If there's 2 or 3 cars in line, pull up as far as you can. The teacher or teachers will be out there to sign your children in. They'll walk them in the building, and that'll be great, okay? If you have anyone other than preschool, you go to the outside line, and here's how you'll do it. You'll go down to the back of the parking lot, up next to the parking stops, make a turn, and come back up the hill to where there's a little cone if you're the first car. And I will be out there on most days, somebody else if I can't be there, to get your kids across. Please do not let your children out of the car until the teacher or myself, whoever it is. We made some changes on this last year. We got a little too relaxed, I feel like. We're going to be at the door to get your children, and we might walk them down to the next car and get the next one, okay? And then we'll walk them across together and get them inside the building. And then don't pull out a line. You know, you've got some you got some person, it could be a papaw, it could be an aunt or an uncle, it could be a granddaddy or a grandmommy. All of them are just, whatever's going on, and they're not in a real big hurry, and you're thinking, I'm going to beat that, I'm going to get around there and zing out of there. Just be patient. Remember Romans 12:12. Patient in affliction. You can do it. Just be patient. But also, don't be the person who's decided, well, they're in the building now. I'm going to look at my face. I'm going to look at my phone. I'm going to get my sandwich out, get my music turned on, my talk radio show, everything's set. I got the ride into Nashville now. 3 minutes have gone by and we're backed up out in the road. Pull off somewhere else and, something like that. But you got to get on, right? Because we got to get them in the building and we got to get going, right? Y'all okay? That's really important. So don't do rush things. Don't hurt anyone, but just don't pull out a line. And I'll be patient with you the first couple weeks, and then I'm going to come over and tap on your window. Come on. I won't do that. But that's for regular drop-off. And I will send a video out next week that you'll see actual cars out there, and I will show you how to do it. I don't mean that to insult you, but you've got a lot going on, and you're not going to remember it. But I just want to tell you now, in case you're wondering about it, because parents call me up and say, hey, I want to know about what we're going to do about this, what we're going to do about that. So I wanted to give you the whole rundown so you'll know. Pickup time is the very same thing, 3:45 to 4:15, 2 lines of cars. If you have a preschooler with you and you have a first grader and a third grader in the car, and they come to our school, all of you can pull up next to the building, okay? And your first and third grader just has less to walk. Does that make sense? Okay. Bottom of page 5. This is not going to take as long as you're thinking. Right now, we've been at this for about 28 minutes, and I'm hoping to land this ship in about 20 more minutes. Just give me 20 minutes. Attendance. Can't have more than 5 absences in a semester without having to have a doctor's note. On the 6th absence, you have to have a doctor's note. And you might say, well, Mr. Harris, have you all been real rigid about that? Probably not as much as we've had to, we should have in the past. We are fighting hard to get accreditation. And a part of getting accreditation is they're going to be looking through our records. You might say, well, that's really, your motive should have been to check that a lot closer in the past. Every school is trying to improve. Any school that I know of has a school improvement plan. We're trying to get better, so I have to be really firm about that. If it's the 6th absence, you have to have a doctor's note or it's an unexcused absence. And you might say, well, what does unexcused absence mean? It means that your child will get to make up the work, but they don't give full credit for the work. And here's a couple of exceptions to that. If you tell me, hey, I'm going to be going out of town, it's a pre-planned vacation, and I've got to go out of town, or I have to go out for work, and my kids have to go with me. If you will let me know at least 1 full week before you're heading out of town, unless it's an emergency. You can't plan emergencies. We will certainly work with you on that, okay? The other exception to that is if your child leaves school or doesn't come to school one day because they are displaying symptoms like respiratory symptoms to do with the coronavirus, and they go to the doctor and they get tested and they are positive, none of those days will count against your 5 for this year, okay? Does that make sense for everyone? But if you go to the doctor because they have been picked up from school early because they're displaying symptoms of the coronavirus, or they're sick, or they don't feel well, you take them to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, this child needs to be tested for coronavirus, and you say, I'm not testing them. Then you can't come back to school for 14 days. The doctor's not going to give you a note for re-entrance back into school because we don't know. You might say, well, I'm fundamentally opposed to coronavirus testing. I'm fundamentally opposed to a lot of things, but there's a large group of kids here. I know it's small and big picture. And if you don't do that and you bring them back in and then they do have the coronavirus and they spread it to other people, then I'm not kind of liable. I'd be liable for letting them back in knowing what I knew. Does that make sense? So whether you believe the coronavirus is that deadly, or you think it's that serious, or you think it's the common cold, or you think masks are from Hades, or I'm with you. I can write a book, we can talk till tomorrow. But for this school, I'm responsible for 90 plus little souls, and I want them to be as safe as possible. So we are not making them wear masks. If you want them to wear a mask, we will support you in that, wanting to wear a mask. I will tell you, practically speaking, I think it will be very hard for any child, kindergarten, first or second grade, preschool, to try to wear a mask and not absolutely irritate the living life out of every human being in the class before they get to their first break of the day. They will have it up on their head, up in their nose, down in the floor, in the desk. They'll be under the desk. It's going to be a disaster. So if you're that, I'm not trying to insult or make fun. If you're that concerned that a mask is going to harm other people, then I want every one of your children at the school, every single one of them. But I also don't want you to come to school conflicted where you feel like I'm endangering other people. My child shouldn't be here. You're going to have a hard time existing in the future because we've built a whole industry out of this now. And getting it changed now, it's going to have to be just common people saying, look, we're not afraid to live. We're going to take appropriate measures, but we've got to live. Do you all agree with that by and large? Yes, we've got to live. We have to take a pilot, we have to take care and be careful. And I don't want one kid here to get coronavirus. Not one. But we just have to have some policies in place and follow along. Does that make sense for everyone? So I talked about the absence deal. If your child's going to be absent, not if they're going to be late, but if they're going to be absent, please call the school and leave a message. Please send me a text. Please send me a dojo, and do it by 8 o'clock in the morning. If you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning and your child is vomiting their guts out, and you're about to vomit your guts out over the whole deal, and finally at 5 o'clock they croak out and go to sleep, and you're going to go to sleep, call and leave a message at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll know they're not going to be here, and you don't have to wake up and call. Does that make sense? Good enough. Next page, tardy policy. Got to be at school on time. You say, yes, but Mr. Harris, what happens if I just got started late? Your child's going to be tardy. I love your little child, but they're going to be tardy. And you say, well, what if there's bad traffic? Tardy. It's just tardy. But see, otherwise we have to call balls and strikes. You have to tell me the story. You have to be really good at it. A couple tears, get a little emotional, dropped your coffee, almost had a wreck, it's terrible. And then I have to say, you know what, shucksy darn. Come on in, don't worry about it. But see, if it's just a real hard and fast policy, then I don't have to call balls and strikes. You don't have to get mad at me because I'm not mad at you, and everything will be great, right? So just be on time, leave early, it'll be good. And you can get excused tardy. It's like if your child's going to be taken to the doctor. And we've been saying this for 4 years now, and it doesn't work because a lot of the doctors they followed the Greater Things Christian School model. They close on Friday. It's mimicking us. Thanks a lot, buddy. Because that's what our plan was, is that you could take your kids on Friday to the doctor, to the dentist, and then they all shut down on Friday. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to take your child to the doctor, either do it first thing in the morning, like very first thing where they can be here by 9 or 9:30 and get most of the day in. Preferably, though, do it as late as you can in the afternoon, if at all possible, and give us a heads up that you're coming. And, just send a dojo message, send a text, call me. Hey, I'm on my way to pick up so-and-so, and I'll be there at an estimated time. And then we're going to have them ready at that estimated time so that when you come in, you sign them out, you can take them out the door. And when you come in the main entrance door, the first part of the door is open. The inside double doors are always stay locked. There's a doorbell. We'll get them out to you, and you can be on your way. Okay? So there is a place for excused tardies. Doctor's visits, things of that nature. Not feeling good in the morning. But you can't keep using that story. Like, you can't get here at 10 after 8 and say, we just had a hard time getting started. We're not feeling good. Because kids do that every day. They don't feel good because they don't want to go to school, right? So let's be honest with one another. And if you get a tardy, we're not going to put your name up on the wall. We're not saying the Hall of Shame. It's a tardy. You didn't commit a capital offense. Life is going to go on, okay? We're not mad at anyone. We love all of you and we're glad you're here. Also, if you get 8 tardies in 9 weeks, you get a day of suspension. Christian school suspends people. I've suspended 6 kids in 7 years. I'm pretty compassionate and pretty patient. But you can't just keep being late, because here's what happens. The teacher's in the class, she's teaching her heart out. All the kids have zoned in on her. Your kid comes in the room and we have just wrecked the whole thing. Back up the runway, start over again. It's going to take 15 minutes to calm everybody down and get everybody set, because everybody wants to catch up. Oh, hey, how you doing? Did you do that? Yeah, I did that. Oh, you did that. And it's over. Okay? Everybody with me? So you got to get to school on time. I love all of you. Get to school on time. Get to school on time. Get to school. You can sing that in the car when you try to get in the car. You got to get to school on time. Make up a song. I don't know. Got to get to school on time. It's a big deal. I'm up here singing, and that's scary. Birthday parties. For this time being, in the age of Corona, we can't do birthday parties. So here's what we're going to do instead. Birthday parties where you bring stuff in. We're going to buy ice cream, packaged obviously, prepackaged, and a special type of prepackaged cake. It could be Hostess trash, to your child. And we'll get your permission before we do it, and we're going to sing happy birthday. They can wear a little hat. Everything will be great. But that's all we can do for right now because of this foolishness. Okay. Page 7, calendar. You should have had a copy of it. You can go to our website and find it. Censorship. Everyone has very passionate opinions about what is acceptable for their child, and that's great because it's your children. But our library could have all kinds of different things in it that you might find totally acceptable, somebody else would find unacceptable. What you can tell us is, Mr. Harris, I'm not saying it's unacceptable for everyone, but for my child it's unacceptable, and I don't want them to read this particular book. And we will work with you and support your belief about that. But just don't make a public debate out of it because, well, it won't do any good. Anyway. Chapel's a very important part of the day. We start right at 8 o'clock. We do the pledge, we pray, we sing, we do a short lesson. Your children are going to be involved. We're going to be looking for children who want to lead the pledge every morning, who want to pray every morning. It doesn't have to be a real special prayer, but we want them to learn to pray, to respect the flag, and to sing some songs and teach them about God. And we do that for about 20 minutes every morning. We found that that's a better use of the time and more effective for kids to get a start than trying to do one long 1-hour chapel every week in the middle of the day when it messes up our schedule and that kind of thing. So please, again, be at school on time so that we can do well in that. I make this pledge to you. I'm not even in the realm of perfect, but our school teachers and myself will try everything we can this year, just like we have every year, to be criticized for communicating too much. You're going to get dojo messages. You're going to get updates. And you might say, this is a lot to read. I sometimes even send a video and then give you the cliff notes of what was in there. Listen to the video. You don't have to look at the face. Just turn on the video, lay it in the car seat, and drive down the road. This, you're up to speed on what's going on. But it's maddening to work your guts out and try so hard. And then people go, I didn't hear nothing about that. I didn't know that was even going on. Well, we send all kinds of updates. Just please, for the love of all that's good and holy, read the update, watch the video, endure it, but be in the know. Don't call us and say, news to me. Read. It's only going to take 5 to 7 minutes. I love all of you, but you got to read. Okay? Everybody okay? I don't mean to make you mad. I'm not mad at you. Just please read the update. You can see our core values. I'm not going through all of that. Class Dojo is a big part of what we do as a school because it's a simple way to get a closed type of Facebook communication experience where you can see updates throughout the day. You can get messages from us. We can get messages from you. So just know we're going to be doing that. And the consequences. We believe that discipline is a heart issue for children, just like it is for all of us. So your teachers, most of you, kindergarten, first, second grade, all of you, they have a discipline chart that they follow. You can move up, you can move down. In first grade, I'm pretty sure in second grade, when you move down, you stay down for the day. You just don't want to go lower. You start new the next day, but you can't just say, you can't do the manipulation thing. Oh, I'm doing really bad. Let me be sweet a while. I'm doing really good. You know, we have it's like a you know what I mean? Up and down, yo-yo-ville. We don't want to do that. We want to teach kids that we love them and we care for them. But when we deliberately rebel and do wrong, there's consequences. Now, we're not sitting any kid in any corners. We're not, certainly, some people have asked me, will you spank our children? I will not. I will not spank your child. I love your kids. You can come up here and beat the fire out of them if you want to. I'll give you a place to do it. You can take whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm joking. You can't beat the fire out of them, but whatever you call that, you can do what you want. It's your children. I mean, I love your children, but they're yours. You have to come and get them, and every day. But we don't spank kids, or we don't belittle kids. We're not trying to mistreat kids. We will correct them, and there's a consequence. We're not mad at anyone. We're not yelling, but there's consequence. You all want that, right? Yep. So if you get a message from your child's teacher in Class Dojo, and you have to read intent, right? What are they really saying? They used an exclamation point. They're mad. You think I'm joking about this? We're not mad when we send you information. We're sending you information because we want you to be aware. We have partnered with you because we love what we do, and we love your kids and your family. We want the best for them. So when the teacher's sending a message, please don't try to read intent. I think this is what they're really saying. What they're saying is what they're saying. Now, if they did a poor job in writing it, and there's exclamation points at the end of every sentence, which we've talked about, don't do exclamation points unless it's a really nice comment, because people think they're mad. We're not mad. Okay? Everybody good with that? Because if you don't, people get upset, and we don't want you to be upset. We just want you to know what your child did and that we can't believe they did it. I'm just kidding. We don't do that. 3 levels of discipline. Level 1, teachers deal with. Level 2, I get involved with. You can see what those things are. I'm not going to get into all of those details because you can read that. Cell phones. Some people have asked me, can my child bring a cell phone to school? If it's powered off and put away, and you just want them to have it because they're going to get picked up by someone else, and you want them to be able to have the phone, yes. But please have mercy on your child in this regard. This is just free advice. Take it for what it's worth. It may not be worth anything to you. I have had kids come out of this building before to go to their car, and the parent is holding up the phone or the tablet, and the child looks like they are coming off of, they need a fix. I mean, they're having a meltdown. They're going to the car. They can't wait to get to the technology. This is a sign. Too much technology for this one, right? We need to back it down on the technology. So maybe just pay attention to that. It is kind of comical and sad at the same time to see that. You just go, wow, that's different. That's sad. But anyway, I'm not going to, specific discipline issues. You can't bring guns, can't bring knives, all that stuff. You can read all that. Water pistols, you might say we can't bring a water pistol. We might have a day where you could bring a plastic gun and shoot water at each other at the end of the year. But by and large, it causes chaos with people. People freak out. And while one family goes, it's not a big deal, the other family's having a meltdown and it's not worth fighting over. Just play with your water pistols at home. Okay? Everybody good? Probation, disciplinary thing, I'm not going to do that. I've already went over corporal punishment, contrition. Page 11. Expulsion and appeals. We don't have perfect kids at the school, but at our school, I've expelled, said you can't come back 3 kids in 7 years. So you might say, well, do y'all have all church kids coming to school? We have Baptists that come to school, Church of Christ, Methodist, non-denomination, which just means they're a Baptist church with a cool website. That's what's his name said. What's his name? That Christian comedian. He talks about essential oils, man. Essential oils. He's hilarious. His name is. It doesn't matter. I'll come back to it. But and what was I talking about? I got expulsions. Yes. Only 3 kids in 7 years, but we have all kinds of church people here, and we have heathens here that don't go to church anywhere. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, we have all kinds of people. So you don't have to be Christian to come here, but just know we're going to teach from a Christian perspective. We're going to integrate a biblical worldview into your children as we teach. And so there's that. Okay, page 12. Dress code, kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. It's pretty relaxed dress code. It's not very military-like, even though I love the military, served as a chaplain in the United States Army, proud to be one. No criticism of that military. But we don't want, it's not a military school, so we have a very broad approach to uniforms. You have to buy the uniform shirts from Lands End. You put in our school code. If you are not in the know and you're saying, I didn't know this, it's nothing to stress out about. Your child can wear a one color solid, I guess is the right term, t-shirt or polo until your shirts come in. But we'll give you the code tonight. We sent it out last week, and another time when you came in, we gave them to you in a packet. You go to Lands End, put in our school code, and it'll bring up our school store. And anything that's in that store will get the little logo, well, it's not on here, the little logo on it, and you will get those in the mail. And if they don't fit, you don't like them, you can send them back to Lands End. They'll send you what you want, no additional charge. And we don't use Lands End for any other reason than 2 things. It's simple in the sense that it takes out the middleman, because I am the middleman. My staff is, you're looking at it. I do the door, I do the office, I do the print, I do it all. So I don't do the teaching for all the teachers, but I don't have the time to chase down shirts and take complaints over the quality of the shirt. So just it Lands End. But I recommend buy the bottoms and the stuff. You know, girls can wear skirts or shorts or pants that are khaki, navy blue, black, or gray. Boys can wear shorts or pants that are any of those colors. We're doing a fundraiser not too long into August where we designed a warrior t-shirt that's kind of a cool looking t-shirt that you can purchase. And then on Thursdays, your child can wear that and a pair of jeans. So they're only having to wear their uniform Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And you can, so all that stuff's right there in the handbook for you. Emergency school closings. We do not follow Dixon County school closings just every time. If there is ever a major snowstorm in this county again, which I'm beginning to doubt, we have floods and we rain till the end of time at Seattle, Washington. But if it snows, then usually on the first day or 2, we will be closed. We try to open extended care, but it's based on whether our teachers can get here. We don't do public transportation. But what we've been trying to do this last year is doing a lot of 2 or 3. We haven't done a 3-hour delay yet, but we might do a 3-hour delay so that we can get most of the school day in, because our instructional days are super, super important. We're in school 150 days, plus the Focus Fridays. If you send your kids to that, it'll be about actually 185 days, barring weather for closure for weather. But when we decide to close, and if you text me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, hey, we're going to be closed tomorrow? I don't know. Are we going to be closed at 6 o'clock at night? Are we going to be closed? I don't know. As soon as I know, because I take into consideration, you have to find someone to watch your children if we don't open extended care, I will let you know as quickly as I can. The reason that we don't like to call it so early is that we've been tricked before. A couple of springs ago, they were making the announcement that the storm of the century was coming. We were all going to be doomed. This building wouldn't be standing anymore as the end of the world. And at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I announced, okay, we're going to do whatever else, we're going to be closed. And the next day, it was the prettiest day. You could play baseball, had a picnic on the ground. It was great. And I looked like a complete moron for closing school and wasted a whole day. So I'll tell you as quick as I can, but I don't want to waste your time or your children's time, or just not steward it well. Page 14, Fun Friday field trips. We're gonna try our best to go on 4 field trips this year on Fridays. First one is scheduled September the 11th. We've already changed that date to September the 18th. So if you want to go in there and just mark it out, September the 11th, we are going to try our best to go somewhere. We don't have it scheduled yet because everything is messed up because of, well, you know why. And we may have to do a field trip that's here where we ask police, fire, ambulance, different kinds of good things that can come out here for your kids. We're going to try to make that decision in the next couple of weeks, and we will update you as soon as we know. Report cards go home once every 9 weeks. You'll get access to RenWeb, where you can see your child's teacher's lesson plans and your child's progress with grades. That will be different on the progress for grades with kindergarten because we don't do ABC. With kindergarten, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the end of each 9 weeks to see if they know these skills and can do these skills. So you won't be able to see the progress of their grades if you're in kindergarten, but you'll be able to see what they're working on. And we don't need to do anything. Okay, here's the thing about health issues. Lice policy. We have a no-nit policy. Children with lice or nits may not attend school. Before a student can be readmitted to the school, a statement of treatment from a healthcare provider must be submitted. Parents are given 3 days to rid their children of head lice. During time, school absences will be excused. Some people have said that's too rigorous of a thing. Listen, we don't have a nurse, so I don't want to go tiptoeing through your child's hair with gloves and all that. We don't want to have to do that. So just be sure, if it happens, that you get the proper treatment. Immunization policy, unless you have a religious exemption or that kind of thing and you give it to me, then we have to have a copy of their immunization policy. Medications, some people have sent things in their folder before, in their backpack before. Please don't send medications by the backpack. Don't send the medications in the child's hand. I am not an expert at this, but this is what our policy is. If your child needs medicine given to them during the day, whether it be a pill or a liquid or whatever it is, you need to send me a message to let me know that you're going to be giving it to me in the car line, for me to go put it in the office, to set timers to remind us to get it to them, and then give that information. Then I'll give it to the teacher to make sure that we do it exactly as it's supposed to be. It will stay in the locker or in the office. You say, what about cough drops? Cough drops are the same thing, because we just run it to death with the cough drops. Ludens, don't you love those little cherry Ludens? Little things. They taste like candy. That's so good when you're a kid. Just get your pocket full of those and you just have a time. It's great. But anyway, got to send it through the office. I'm sorry for any inconvenience on that. And any questions on anything I've covered so far? We're about to land. I'm about 3 minutes later than I had planned, but we're almost there. Anything? Great. Top of page 17, you see our non-discriminatory policy, organizational structure. If your child comes to school here, you don't have to wear tennis shoes every day, but we ask that you keep a pair of tennis shoes here so that when we do recess for PE, they can change their shoes quickly, because this floor does not take kindly to harsh shoe bottoms, and your children don't take kindly to it either when they fall and get hurt. So please, you don't have to wear tennis shoes, but send a pair that can stay here in their locker, and we would be grateful. We'll be grateful for your help with that. You're coming to campus. Right now we're not doing family lunches. Usually we have a time where you can come and sit in with your children to eat lunch. We're not doing that right now. Hopefully we'll get to go back and do that again soon, but just not right now. Hey, I like to joke around when I do these, because I know that they're akin to listening to all this. It's akin to having a root canal or something like that. You're like, oh, come on, I've worked all day, I've got to listen to all this foolishness. So I try to make it a little fun if I can, because it's not the most exciting thing you've ever had to endure. But in all seriousness, if you don't hear anything else I say tonight, we genuinely count it a privilege to get to do what we're doing. I've struggled for a long time thinking, God, is this what I'm supposed to do? And I've come to the realization over the last few years that this is what God wants me to do. I don't have any doubts about it. I don't have to set an alarm in the morning. And I'm passionate about what we're doing. Our teachers are passionate about what they're doing. We will not be perfect, but we will aim for perfect. This week is a funny story. We have done this study in our in-service about Chick-fil-A. I am a Chick-fil-A fanatic. I'm also the doubting Thomas on a Chick-fil-A ever coming to Dixon County, until I sit in the restaurant and eat my Chick-fil-A sandwich and eat my French fries and drink my water and have a dreamy ice cream cone. I will not believe that there's ever going to be one in Dixon County. I've heard every story and rumor under heaven. It's not going to happen in this county. So I'm hoping by saying that it will happen. So we need Chick-fil-A because I love their food. Some people say it's just overpriced chicken. Yes, but it's so good. But the thing is, we were doing this week, part of our in-service, we did a training, a study on Chick-fil-A's business practice and their policy. And they work to try to have customers, guests, they call them guests, have remarkable guest experiences. And we've kind of developed that. We want you as a guest or a customer, you're not really a guest, as a customer, as a partner with us, to having a remarkable experience here. So we set the bar pretty high. I told the teachers, it all depends on you. No pressure. But we want to have the best communication we can. We want you to feel like we really care, because we do. If you feel like we're missing something somewhere, like, hey, you didn't tell us about that, you didn't tell us about this, if you'd let me know about that, we are trying our best to be the best elementary school and the start of middle school that we can be for our area. So just know that I may not have covered everything tonight, but I wanted to make sure and get that across. Anything that I have not covered concerning coronavirus, our policies, something that I haven't touched on that you think, hey, I just want a clarification, I'd be glad to answer any questions. Anyone? I have done a fabulous job, because you have no question, or you don't want to ask because you don't know how I'll answer. Hey, listen, please come and see me if there's anything I can do to serve you, okay? I didn't introduce you to one other person that we are super blessed to have on our faculty this year. We have waited for 7 years. I make no story when I tell you this. We have prayed, we've interviewed people, we could not afford to have them come to the school, but this year, back in March, I had her pegged to be the new first grade teacher. And she told me, no, I'm not trained to be a teacher, but I am a speech pathologist. She has her bachelor's or master's, and her son is a first grader here this year, and she is on staff to be our speech pathologist. She will help your children if they're having any kind of processing issues. She is a great lady, just a godly lady, and she's going to do a great job. So Mrs. Amanda Dorado, we are grateful to have you with us. I've introduced, I think, Miss Cazone's over there, BB Crosby. She's our new teacher aide for kindergarten, and she's going to do a great job. And I've already introduced you to Mrs. Truitt and Miss Sarah. And this is just our group, really, to work with kindergarten and second grade. We've never had 5 faculty people to work with these little kids. And I'm exhausted. That's why I'm crying. I'm a hot mess. I'm going to edit that mess out. You know what I'm saying? I look like a fool up here. But I am so grateful to have these people work with us. They're really good at what they do. They might get on your nerves every once in a while, but I'm sure that you will get on theirs. But if we just be patient with one another, it's going to be a great experience, and we're excited to see what happens this year. Okay? So if there's anything I can do for you, I'll be around. If you have a kindergartner, if you go through these double doors, wait before you do that. If you go through those double doors, it's the first door on the left or the second door on the left. They have 2 doors. They're special. And then the next door, the last door on the left, is our first grade teacher, Miss Truitt, or Miss Amy. And then our second grade teacher is down this hall, and you're going to go a real long way, like 6 feet. And the first door on the right is Miss Cazone. I'm going to be back here at the back with sheets for you to sign that you have accepted the handbook policy, the student handbook, and that you agree with it, and you'll sign your name and that kind of thing. We'll have that in your student's file. If you have an immunization record you need to drop off, or a birth certificate, or you need to pay tuition, or you need instructions on how to pay tuition online. We do not do the type of tuition yet. We hope to soon. Probably won't do it in the middle of the school year, but maybe next year, where we automatically pull it out of your account a few days after you've received the invoice. But we have the next best thing. You can go in on a web browser. You should be able to, unless you have all this cookie-enabled hoo-ha stuff that I'm not really in that. That's not my specialty. And you can pay your tuition online once you get the invoice. We do a lot of communication by dojo and email. You'll rarely get a letter from us in the mail because we just don't have the time, so we get it sent out to you by email and dojo, so it's kind of a fail-safe. You can get it on one or the other, okay? So you get the invoice, and then you can go online and pay it, and I'll give you the instructions back here in the back. Anything else from anyone? I've talked a long time. We made it in under an hour, though. It's 58 minutes and 17 seconds, so yippity-doo-dah on that. So second grade this way, kindergarten and first that way. God bless you. Hey, how are you? Let me just hit this button here to stop.